All right, who's excited for the February wrap-up? I'm not gonna lie, I'm not. I don't know what was in the air this month, but I didn't love the books. There were a couple I liked. I also feel like some of these are like, I don't know if they really count, but I'm counting them because it's my life, so like, why wouldn't I? So starting off, which, okay, also, back it up, some of these I obviously read for a video, so I gave extensive thoughts on them in said video, so I'm not gonna like go into super detail on those, so if you want my like super detailed thoughts, just go watch that video, obviously. But, to carry on, first was Wildfire. This eye's been itching all morning. I gave a 3 out of 5. I wouldn't say I was disappointed by the read, but comparing it to Icebreaker, very disappointed. Icebreaker was one of my favorite, at the time, standalone romances. I didn't obviously know it was going to be more, but I really liked Icebreaker. I gave that one like a 4.5. And so I was really excited, but it fell short. You know, it takes place at camp. These two meet at a party. They go to the same college, meet at a party, and then like have this crazy one night, like amazing one night. And he is like a cutie little shy boy. He plays hockey, but like he's super hot, obviously. And she is more outgoing. It's the end of school though, like it's summer. So they were like, I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it. They go to work at this summer camp and they don't know that they're both there. So they run into each other and like, and there's like a slight miscommunication. Like she even says in the book, like the characters are like, oh my God, we're literally doing the miscommunication trope right now. And I'm like, yeah, you are. So they're both there. I'm doing a heinous job at this. I don't know what I'm on right now, but I'm doing a terrible job at this. Maybe it's just this book. Hopefully it'll get better as the video goes on. I apologize. So they start out like talking it out and they're like, we should just be friends, basically. And then obviously, because they're not allowed to date. That's why. The details are coming back to me. This was a while ago. One of the rules is that you can't date because they're there all summer. So like they don't want to deal with the drama. So they're not supposed to date. Obviously there's like tension and stuff like that. But I hate to say it, she annoyed the shit out of me. Like she was super, not clingy, but expected a lot from him when they were just friends. She expected him to tell her like all of his problems and stuff. And like we already know he's a shy boy, so he doesn't like talk about his problems. But she like gets offended when he doesn't tell her things. And I'm like, girl, please know your place. Anyway, so like it was okay. It wasn't a terrible read, but like definitely just the most average read ever. Then I read Squeal on my Kindle, which is the second to Squeak that I talked about last time. And if you don't remember, Squeak was basically these two balloon animals that turn into humans. Long story short, fucked up. They are balloon animals and their wee-wees balloon. So anyways, this is the second one because I found out it was called the Squeakiverse. I had to read the second one. Like, why wouldn't I read the second one? And it's short too, but I gave it a 2 out of 5. Like, obviously, it can't get anything higher than that. I like don't even remember everything about it just because I feel like I checked out when I was reading it. But it basically had to do with 2 more that were under the same evil girl as the original book, and they escaped and they like found the original throuple. This isn't gonna make sense at all if you didn't listen to my original video of Squeak last month. So just bear with me. And so the 2 new people, which one I can't even say it out loud as it sounds so silly. One of the guys is not a balloon animal, but he randomly turns into a clown. Full gear, dressed head to toe, nose and everything in a clown suit. And so he's trying to escape it and he like doesn't know anything about the world because he was like made. And so they go on this journey to escape the circus. It's not as bad as it sounds, okay? It's literally not. But anyways, they end up they're like drawn to the scent or something of the original throuple from the first book. And they find them and they get help. And by get help, they get a couple O's. They do have sex. I don't know why or like for what reason, but they do, and that's about it. 2 out of 5. This next book is one that I like don't know if it counts. I found it at the little free library near where I work, and it's like a little poetry book. So like technically it's a book and I read it and it's on Goodreads and it counts, but like it's little poems. Did I like it? Yes, but I gave it a 2 out of 5. I don't really know how you rate a poetry book, but I did it. It's called You'll Come Back to Yourself. I mean, it's decent. I just like, I don't really know what else there is to say about it. Read this also for a video. If Only I Told Her, the sequel to If He Had Been With Me. Yeah. And I liked it more. Okay, this was kind of like a roller coaster. This is obviously, or it was supposed to be a whole book from Finn's point of view. I've literally talked about this so many times, so I'm not going to keep going into it. Wasn't what I expected, but I ended up liking it more than I thought. Like, I started on a high, realized it took a turn, and then was upset, and then it went right back up to a high because I really liked it. Part 2 was my favorite because part 1 was obviously a little redundant because it's the same stuff as in the first one, but like I knew that going into it, so I'm not mad about it being redundant. I enjoyed it. Wasn't like my favorite thing ever. It did make me cry. So if you're ready to cry, especially during part 2, I feel like it was very difficult to get through. Enjoyed it. I gave it a 4.25. So, very good. Another, like, I don't know if this counts or not because I am new to, like, audiobooks. New-ish. Never listened to audiobooks. I was one of those people that felt like it was, like, cheating for some reason. I don't know why. I will listen to a full book on audiobook and it feels to me like I cheated and didn't actually read it. But, I mean, it's a book and I know the story to it. So, anyways, that being said, I did technically do a reread of According to Mist and Fury, but it was fully on audiobook. So, like, does that count? I don't know. I was fully, it's not like I just had it playing in the background. I was fully paying attention to it as if I hadn't read it before because I was reading it or listening to it full ears open because I love this book. So, I mean, I'm counting it because it's my video, so take that. Anyways, I actually upped the rating to a 5 out of 5 because I originally said a 4.75, and having listened to it and having absorbed the story for a second time, it deserves the 5 out of 5. Knowing like some of the books that I gave a 5 out of 5 in the past and then realizing I gave this a 4.75, I just like, I can't justify that. I was just being really picky, trying to be as harsh as I could on this series, but it's a 5. Like, I don't understand why I was being so rude. She's a 5. And then I read Powerless. Oh my god. Love this book. This was a 5-star read. This actually ended my other video. So if you want to see me fully talk about this book, I do in the other video. This gives Hunger Games. It gives Divergent. It gives a little bit of like Fourth Wing vibes, like the romance. It's just like everything you could ever want wrapped into one. And she somehow did it better. Okay. People are gonna yell at me for that. I like this better than Hunger Games. I was never super into the whole Hunger Games Divergent stuff. I don't know why, because I was so into like Harry Potter. I just never really got into all that. I like them. They aren't my favorite. I don't go crazy for them. But this one, if you don't know anything about it, the world is basically split up into elites who have powers and ordinaries who do not have powers. If you're an ordinary, you get killed. So all the ordinaries in the world are trying to like hide and blend in so they don't get killed, obviously. But the king is like, screw the ordinaries, they're draining our power. Like, he's stupid. And so the king's son, he has 2 sons. Hey girl. He has 2 sons, and the younger one, Kai, is the enforcer who is in charge of killing the ordinaries. Are you kidding me? Super hot, of course. Like, of course he is. He comes off as this, like, really shitty person. Like, he's the killer.
This is the skin of the killer, Bella.
He's supposed to kill all of these innocent people, like including children. And so our main girl, Peyton, she's an ordinary, trying to pose as an elite. So that's like the main idea of the book. He is supposed to kill her. He just doesn't know. They also then, this is where the Hunger Games comes in. They have these trials. 9 people get picked. It's supposed to be like in honor, but like you could easily die. And so of course, Peyton gets picked and she's like, huh? So she gets picked to go into these trials, and Kai has to go into the trials because he's supposed to show he's worth being an enforcer. Like, that's how he's gonna like become the enforcer, is if he wins the trials. Basically, the king's just forcing him to be in them because he's like, show your worth kind of thing. They have to go through these trials, and she has no powers. And like, the powers are insane. Strength, someone can like clone themselves. People are like illusionists, so they'll just make you see like whatever the fuck they want you to see. Ones like can hop around everywhere like really quickly, not literally hop, but like go from here to there in a split second, that kind of thing. So she's trying her best to like hide her ordinariness. And so of course there's immediate tension from her and Kai in the very beginning. Before the trials even start, there's tension, and the banter's unmatched. This banter is some of the best banter I've ever read. The only thing I can compare it to is Fourth Wing, because I love their banter. It's so good. But the only difference that I felt was Xaden's banter, it wasn't as like romantic, you know? I don't know how to explain it that well, but like Kai's banter, swoon worthy. You're like, I can't believe he just said that. It is some of the most like romantic. I don't even know how to explain it. Lauren Roberts knows what we want, and she gave it to us in the form of Kai. Just to read Kai's quotes, it's worth it to read this book. But the only difference, I was trying to think about like why I like Fourth Wing so much better than this book, like what it is that separates them, because Fourth Wing was a 6 out of 5 and this was only a 5 out of 5, which, okay, only a 5 out of 5, as if that's not a perfect score. I think the difference is I felt more connected to the characters in Fourth Wing. Like, we didn't dive into people as much in here, and I don't know, I mean, it's a long book, so I don't know what, I'm not an author, so I don't know what the difference is, but I felt more connected to the Fourth Wing characters, and I had more like emotion towards their lives, and I was scared of anyone that was gonna die in Fourth Wing. And in here I didn't feel as much a connection to the like outside characters. I only cared about Peyton and Kai. At no point did I cry during this, especially since I cry at most books I read. Definitely could have cried, but I just didn't feel the connection to the side characters as I did in Fourth Wing, if that makes sense. There's a second one coming out this year. Very excited for how this ends off. Very excited to get into the next one. I literally said I wasn't going to go into detail, and then what do? I go into detail. Next, I have a huge disappointment. I listened to this on audiobook as well, but I have The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. I love Lynn Painter. I literally love her with all my heart and soul. This did not hit the way I thought it was going to. This was my first adult, first adult book of hers, because I've usually only read, I stick to her YA books because I like the little high schooly cutesy romances. This girl's working a wedding. At the wedding, this guy ends up getting dumped like in front of everyone. They have a crazy night together. Okay, he fucks the bartender. So she like leaves really early in the morning to separate, blah, blah, blah. They don't contact each other again. They both get on a dating app and see each other. And she's like, as a joke, she's like, oh my God, it's you. Playfully texting, like as friends. They didn't like have feelings for each other at all at the beginning. And so it turns into the wager is who can find their love first, basically, on this app. Just like the way they're talking is giving best friend vibes immediately. She even tells him what she's looking for is to marry her best friend. I'm like, okay, so you're literally describing him, but whatever. They plan their dates at the same time, and then will go get they basically have a date immediately after. They'll go get tacos and talk about the date afterwards. Or like if they need saving, they'll get out of the date for each other. So this whole time, like very clearly, they're perfect for each other. Like it's obvious to every single person in the room. So they have to go on this wedding where they have to fake date. And the fake dating just like wasn't executed the way I thought it was going to be executed. It was like fake dating, yes, in public, and then they fully fake dated in private. They were like, well, we might as well make out in a closet where no one can see us. It was just very obvious that they had feelings for each other. The whole time I was annoyed with them and their reasonings for not dating. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why wouldn't you date? Like, it felt stupid to me. It was like a very mediocre plot, and the two people were annoying. So I gave it a 2 out of 5. Wasn't my favorite, but I'm gonna keep reading Lynn Painter because I like her other stuff. This is now the second book I haven't liked of hers in a row too, so that sucks. I'll give her like one more shot, and then if I don't like her, I might move on. Then the last one, my 8th book of the month, was Where's Molly by H.G. Carlton. I have some thoughts on this book. I'll keep it brief, but I have some thoughts. I just finished it last night. It's in the same world as Haunting and Hunting Adeline. If you read Hunting Adeline, there were like these journal entries that Addie saw somewhere, I'm not gonna say where, from a Molly, and so this is Molly's story. Almost confusing how much we jump around. Like it'll be like 2013, 2022, 2009, like it jumps around a lot, so it's kind of difficult for me to keep up with, especially because I don't like immediately remember what year we were in. So I had to go back and look a ton, but it tells basically just like her really sad sob story of like how she ended up where she ended up, and then it goes to her present now and like her role in the world, in this like sex trafficking world, putting an end to it kind of thing, which is she has a pig farm and she feeds the killers to the pigs. It's like really gross, but it's telling the story, and like this guy named Cage who originally helped her like a really long time ago. Instant love, instant obsession type of vibe. I'm also doing a bad job of this because the book jumps around so much, it's hard for me to like explain it. He works for the same company she does, but they didn't know that because she keeps to herself. So he is making his delivery and is like, Molly? Then his like obsession is renewed and he's like, no, you're literally mine. And then there's like a side story about her trying to find her sister, or like trying to get in touch with her sister type of thing. His obsession with her. That probably didn't make sense, and I honestly don't care. I'm not going to try and re-explain it. But this is like a novella type book. Like, it's not a full book. I think it was a little over 200 pages. I would have really liked this story if it was 400 to 500 pages. I feel like we really needed way more of a backstory for me to care and feel connected to these characters. I just feel like it came out of nowhere, which she had to if she was writing a short book. I know it was supposed to be a short book, so it was just like extra content from the world of Haunting Adeline. I appreciate the backstory of Molly, but I wish we had more. Like, I want a full 200 more pages, and I would have really liked it. Like, it felt super rushed. I gave it a 3 out of 5, but like could have been a 4 if it was a full story. Like, I wanted more. That's a compliment. I want more of the story, Miss Carlton. That was my last book. It wasn't like a terrible month. I did at least find like Powerless, but not the best month. I won't lie. And if you take out my rereads and like the little poetry book, I read like what, 4 or 5 books. Anyways, that's it for this month. Hope you enjoyed. I will do my best to rack up as many as I can in March. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.